Kangcheng, the official residence of a family, in a luxurious villa. You still sign it, we can get together and break up. A cold female voice sounded, with an icy feeling of refusing people thousands of miles away. A piece of divorce agreement was placed on the coffee table. After that, Wang Yi didn't look at him again, he turned and walked towards the bedroom. Wang Yi looked at the absolutely beautiful woman, a look of pain flashed in his eyes. What should have come has finally come. All kinds of things from the past appeared one by one, as if it were yesterday. A year ago. Wang Yi, who worked overtime until the early morning, witnessed a car accident on his way home. A white BMW sedan was knocked over by a retrograde off-road vehicle, but the owner of the off-road vehicle seemed to be drinking. After knocking over the BMW, he didn't get out of the car, and ran away with some shaking. At the time, Wang Yi didn't think too much about it. He rescued a young woman with blood on his face from the BMW and called an ambulance for her. It didn't matter after that. Unexpectedly, after about half a month, a woman named Su Xia came to her door. She told Wang Yi that she was the woman he saved that night. As the saying goes, men chase women across mountains, and women chase men across layers of yarn. With Su Xia's active pursuit, the two soon fell in love. As for Su Xia's parents, after getting to know them, they found that although Wang Yi lost his parents when he was a child, he still has a very good character and a good personality, and he graduated from a famous university, so there is no objection. Soon after, the two received a marriage certificate. At that time, the whole Kangcheng was sensationalized. Who did not know that the daughter of the Su family married a poor boy who had no money, no power, and no weapons? In a short time, Wang Yi had the title of a trash son-in-law, a soft-boiled man, and a little white face in Kangcheng. On the day of the wedding, a senior instructor of the Taoist Academy passed by and found that Su Xia was actually a rare hidden martial art. She would take Su Xia away on the spot and go to the Taoist temple to practice. At the moment of the wedding, Su Xia was naturally reluctant, but Wang Yi knew that this was a great opportunity. Under his insistence, after the wedding, Su Xia left with a reluctant expression. It's been a year since I left, and Su Xia didn't come back until a month ago. Wang Yi felt that after the other party came back, he seemed to be a different person and became very indifferent to him. The attitude of the father-in-law and the mother-in-law towards him became more and more mean. A few days ago, by coincidence, Wang Yi discovered that Su Xia entered the hotel with a strange man, and then the two had a big fight and fell into a cold war. Today, Su Xia is talking to him for the first time, that is, asking for a divorce. With trembling hands, she picked up the divorce agreement, her eyes were a little red, but she couldn't sign it. You bastard! You can't be a man once? Our Xia is going to become a martial arts master in the future. How can you be worthy of her? A sour voice sounded in my ear. Wang Yi looked at the middle-aged woman who was talking, and his eyes were full of humiliation. Gritting his teeth, his face was flushed, and after holding it for a long time, he choked out a word. It is good. After speaking, Wang Yi directly signed his name on the divorce agreement. Even if you are acquainted, I won't let you sign in vain. This million is considered compensation for you. When the middle-aged woman saw Wang Yi's signature, she was proud and shoved a check directly into his hand. Then, like chasing flies, he waved, "Go away." Wang Yi looked at the mother-in-law in front of him, his eyes almost bursting with fire, but the next moment it dimmed, holding the check, like a walking corpse, and left the Su family villa. When Wang Yi left, the middle-aged woman no longer had the snarky look she had just now, she just walked towards the bedroom with a complicated face. In the bedroom, at this time, Su Xia had lost the coldness she had just now. Looking at the mother in front of her, she asked with a crying voice, "Mom! How's it going? Did he sign it?" Mother Su's eyes were also flushed, she looked at her daughter, and said softly, "I signed it, I have given him all the funds that can be used on the company's books, and I have just left. Su Xia couldn't bear it any longer. She threw herself into Mother Su's arms, and cried out with a wow. Mother Su hugged Su Xia distressedly, patted her back and sighed, "Silly boy, why are you doing this? If you do this, he will hate you for the rest of his life." Su Xia just shook her head lightly and didn't speak. The enemy that the Su family has provoked this time is too strong. Even her sixth Hoarder Peak mentor can't afford to provoke the Su family. This time, the Su family may not be able to survive. Wang Yi will not be implicated. In fact, it's not bad. Rather than letting him sink with the big ship of the Su family, it's better to let him hate himself. Although this is a bit painful, at least he can live in peace. Thinking of this, Su Xia put on a smile on her tear-stained face. Wang Yi, who left Su's house, felt like a stone was crushed in his heart, and it was difficult to breathe. Walking on the road, Wang Yi didn't know where to go, but just walked forward aimlessly. Flick away. Dangerous. Don't go any further. Wang Yi was a little distracted. He felt that he was pushed a bit. Hearing that many people were calling him, he turned his head subconsciously. Bang! With a harsh braking sound, a high-speed car collided directly with Wang Yi, a mouthful of blood spurted out, and his body flew backwards like a kite with a broken string. Ah! I hit someone. There's a lot of blood, hit 120. The scene was chaotic, but Wang Yi slowly lost consciousness. Kangcheng Central Hospital, in the ICU ward. Wang Wei abruptly sat up on the bed, looked at the instruments around him, and froze there, with a confused look. Where am I? What? With a scream, Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com startled Wang Wei and pulled him back from the daze. You're awake. Don't move, I'll call the doctor. Beside the hospital bed, a beautiful little nurse looked at Wang Wei, who suddenly sat up with a look of surprise, and ran out of the room after speaking. Looking at the little nurse who ran out anxiously, Wang Wei was stunned. The next moment, the complexion changed. Boom! An unfamiliar memory flooded into his mind instantly, as if he had experienced a person's life in an instant. The huge amount of information made Wang Wei's face turn pale. After a while, he regained his senses, but his mind was still dizzy. Looking at the snow-white wall, there was only one thought left. Damn it! Crossed! I just can't figure it out. I just slept for a while, how could I travel through time after waking up? But before the time travel, Wang Wei had no father or mother, and was alone. After he came to this world, he had nothing to worry about. Based on those memories, Wang Wei learned that the former owner of this body was named Wang Yi. He had just experienced being green, divorced, and kicked out of the house. In a trance, he was hit by a car on the road. It should have been shortly after entering the ICU. Was already dead, and then he crossed over and occupied this body. Compared with the Earth before crossing, this world is much bigger, but the history is surprisingly similar. But this world is very popular with martial arts, and there are fewer familiar literati and writers, and the biggest turning point is in that apocalypse. After the explosion. After a long time, Wang Wei breathed a sigh of relief and sighed softly, this world is really dangerous. But since I came here, all the past has disappeared, there is no more Wang Wei here, only Wang Yi, I am Wang Yi. Click. The door of the ward was opened, and at this time, the doctor came in belatedly. Looking at Wang Yi sitting on the bed, his face was full of shock. Unexpectedly, the patient who was about to be declared dead actually came back to life, and he kept mumbling, "This is a miracle. This is a great miracle in the history of medicine." 3 hours later, inside the ward. After giving Wang Yi a full-body examination, the doctor still felt a little weird when he took the examination report. There is no problem. Even healthier than normal. Besides Wang Yi and the doctor, there were 2 people in the ward. One was a traffic policeman, and the other was a middle-aged man in a suit. The doctor said to the traffic police, "Just now, I did a comprehensive check on the injured person. Now there are no problems, and they can be discharged at any time." After speaking, he walked out of the ward. At this time, the traffic police pointed to the middle-aged man in a suit and said to Wang Yi, "He is the driver who caused the accident," but after the accident, he immediately called the police and called an ambulance. "Now that you are all right, then this accident, are you going to go private or go through legal procedures? I personally suggest that you go private, it will be more beneficial to you." The middle-aged man in a suit also came up, looked at Wang Yi, and said apologetically, "Little brother, it's my fault, because I was in a hurry, I drove too fast and accidentally bumped into you. Do you think this is okay? You go home and take a long rest. I will pay for the lost work expenses and nutrition expenses during the period, and I will give you an additional 100,000 yuan. Wang Yi just shook his head gently. The face of the middle-aged man in a suit changed, it was broken. Glancing at Wang Yi, I couldn't help but think that he thought he was giving too little money and didn't want to be private. Or, is this a game, sent by my opponent? Thinking of this, his eyes became colder and colder. However, Wang Yi said in a light tone, "No need, I have nothing to do right now, and you didn't do it on purpose. Please go through the discharge procedures later, I'll just go home. Do you want to stay in the hospital for a few more days for observation?" Hearing Wang Yi's words, the middle-aged man in a suit asked subconsciously, and then he wished to slap himself and make you rude. However, Wang Yi directly refused, "No need, I have nothing to do." The middle-aged man in a suit, his expression changed from cold to joy, he looked at Wang Yi and said with a smile, "Little brother is bright. I'll go through the formalities now." The traffic policeman next to him looked at Wang Yi with surprise. These days, it's not bad if you don't deceive you, like Wang Yi, don't make up for it, it's really not much. It didn't take long for the middle-aged man in the suit to come back, with the discharge procedures in one hand and a few packaging bags in the other, and walked in. First, he handed the packaging bag to Wang Yi, and then said with a smile, "Little brother, do you try to fit? I see that you are about the same size as mine, so I bought 2 clothes for you according to my size. I can't wear it anymore, it's all blood, and it's worn out." Wang Yi tried it on, and it fit perfectly. He was very happy, and the other party was also a wonderful person. The middle-aged man in a suit handed another business card to Wang Yi, and said, "Little brother, this is my contact information. If you have any difficulties in the future, please call me. I will do my best. Do your best to help." Wang Yi took the business card and saw what was written on it. Qingyang Dan Pavilion, Kangcheng Branch Pavilion, the pavilion owner Niu Suezong, followed by a string of mobile phone numbers. Wang Yi was startled, "My dear, this background is not simple." Seeing that the two had reached an agreement, Wang Yi was about to leave, but the traffic police stopped him. Wang Yi turned his head with questions on his face, "What's wrong?" The traffic policeman was on his body, took out a check with dried blood on it, handed it to Wang Yi, and said, "This is what you held in your hand when you had a car accident. Leave it to me for safekeeping." Wang Yi took the check and quickly thanked him, but at this moment, a mechanical voice sounded in his mind. Ding! It is detected that the host has reached the system activation condition. Ding! Does the host spend 1 million Chinese national currency to activate the system? Wang Yi's pupil shrank. System? Immediately, I was ecstatic, this is the time travel welfare, right? However, he didn't choose to activate it. He controlled his expressions so that others would not find the abnormality. He left the hospital and found a hotel nearby. In the room, Wang Yi couldn't hold back his excitement any longer. With ecstasy on his face, he whispered, "Activate." As Wang Yi's words fell, the check in his hand disappeared instantly. Ding! System activating, ding. The primary system is successfully activated, and the host can sign in. The remaining sign-in opportunities today, 1 time. Sign in? Wang Yi narrowed his eyes slightly, and his thoughts turned rapidly. After a while, he asked, what does the primary system mean? Also, what are the restrictions on signing in? The current system level is primary, and upgrading to the intermediate system requires 10 billion Chinese national currency. Hosts can sign in through the system and get various legendary items. You have 1 sign-in opportunity every day, you can sign in directly through the system. Wang Yi almost spit out a mouthful of old blood, 10 billion, a bit too much. But without any hesitation, he said directly, system. Sign in. Ding. The sign-in is successful, congratulations to the host, and obtained the practice Dragon Elephant Prujnagong. The system mechanical prompt sounded. Wang Yi was stunned again. Yu reading www.yuyugonshu.com Dragon and Elephant Prujnagong? Isn't this the martial arts in the Legend of Condor heroes in the previous life? In XC Tantric Buddhism, the supreme Dharma protecting magic, in the original book, the Golden Wheel Dharma King can rival Yanguo Dachan's depressed ecstasy palm by virtue of his 10th level cultivation. After the system prompt sounded, Wang Yi had a lot of memories about Dragon Elephant Prujnagong in his mind, and countless cultivation experiences came to his mind. At this time, Wang Yi, apart from his lack of cultivation, has a real 13th level realm. You must know that this exercise will take longer as it reaches the later stage, and it will be easier to get into trouble as it reaches the later stage. On the other hand, Wang Yi has absolutely no danger in this regard. He already has a realm, and what he lacks is his cultivation. As long as his cultivation is attained, he will be able to reach the 13th level naturally. What makes Wang Yi even more excited is that, judging from the information given at the end of the exercise, as long as you reach the 13th floor, you will be able to defeat Xian Tian. In the memory of the former master, the martial arts of this world are divided from the 1st to the 9th order. The 1st order is the lowest, and the 9th order is the highest. The first 3-level main body refinement is a soldier level, and on the battlefield, it is a strong soldier. The master of the middle and 3rd tiers refines Qi, and is at the level of a warrior. On the battlefield, he can fight against thousands of people and lead an army. The last 3rd order master refining is a of war. On the battlefield, the Invincible of war can dominate a battle. Ordinary 5th or 6th order warriors can shelter a radius of 100 miles, and 7th order warriors can become a city guard and control the fate of thousands of creatures. The predecessor only heard that the guard of Kang Cheng was a 7th order martial arts master. With the status of the Sui family, they are not qualified to contact the powerhouses above the 7th rank. Otherwise, they would not let the daughter-in-law follow the other party on the day of the wedding because of a peak 6th rank martial artist. The congenital realm is even more never heard of it. This exercise is the most avoidable, and only when the mind is free of distracting thoughts is the best state of cultivation. Wang Yi sat cross-legged on the bed with his 5 hearts turned to the sky. According to the practice route of the practice method, I directly practiced without any jerky feeling, as if I had practiced for many years before. In the room, a breeze rose out of thin air, and a spiritual energy that was invisible to the naked eye surrounded Wang Yi. Wang Yi felt that his body was like the earth that had been dry for a long time, and suddenly it rained heavily. Every cell in the body was greedily absorbing these spiritual energy. Uncompromising, he let out a comfortable moan. On Wang Yi's body, there are black impurities, which are continuously discharged from the pores as the exercises run. Wang Yi closed his eyes and enjoyed it. He could clearly feel that his body was getting stronger all the time. The feeling of crazy improvement was fascinating. The exercise is constantly running, and the blood in the body is faintly glowing, and it is extremely heavy as lead and mercury. Wang Yi, who was running the exercise, seemed to have a feeling, and then he was shocked. Qi and blood are like mercury. A great success. Wang Yi was also shocked. He has reached the first level? So easy? It feels like a long time has passed. However, this Dragon Elephant Prujna Kung Fu is really powerful. Just the first level of cultivation makes me a first level martial artist. No wonder it is said that the 13th level can be an enemy of the innate. Wang Yi clenched his fists and felt that his body was full of explosive power. With a single punch, the space in front of him could be shattered. Of course, he must not be able to do this. This is just an illusion caused by the sudden increase in power. After all, he is only a first-order martial artist who has just started. Wang Yi ran the Qigong method again without further delay. This world is not so peaceful. Only by improving his own strength can it be real. Because he has already stepped into the first order, his body is much stronger, and under the operation of the exercise, a larger amount of spiritual energy than before is madly pouring into the meridians. After running through the meridians for a week, all the spiritual energy was dispersed into the flesh and blood, and the meridians also expanded a little more than before, and so on and so forth. I don't know how long it took. Wang Yi felt that he had met an invisible barrier. However, at this time, the meridians have been widened too much, and the spiritual energy contained in them is too huge. Just 1 week, the barrier was shattered by the impact. At the same time, countless red mists rose up around Wang Yi's body like smoke. The cultivation base broke through again in an instant. Qi and blood wolf smoke. Second order warrior. The second floor of Dragon and Elephant Prujna Gong. Wang Yi did not pause at all, and continued to run the exercises in one go. After a while, the barrier appeared again, and then it was shattered in the blink of an eye. Boom! In Wang Yi's body, there is a faint sound of thunder. The sound of blood and thunder. Tier 3 warrior. The third floor of Dragon Elephant Prujna Gong. Just when Wang Yi broke through to the third order warrior, the spiritual energy around his body instantly formed a vortex, and it spread to the surrounding area until it enveloped the entire hotel. Just like a gluttonous food, frantically plundering the surrounding spiritual energy. In a hotel room, a man and a woman sat cross-legged on the bed, opened their eyes at the same time, looked at each other, and doubts flashed in their eyes. Wang Ting looked at the man opposite and asked uncertainly, "Senior, didn't you say that this ultra-small aura eye is enough for us to cultivate to the second level? Why, there is no spiritual energy at all." Xiao Lei also had a gloomy look on his face. He had estimated when he discovered it before that this ultra-small aura eye was indeed enough to support the promotion of 2 first-order warriors. As for why there was no spiritual energy now, he was also at a loss. Wang Ting's father is the head of the largest medicine pill group in Kangcheng, while Xiao Lei's family is in the business of medicinal materials. Xiao Lei originally thought that he would take this opportunity to please Wang Ting and see if he could create a chance for the family. Wang Ting's emotional intelligence is very high. She did not let Xiao Lei get off the stage, and said softly, "Senior, let's wait a while, I'm not sure, the concentration of spiritual energy will recover after a while." The two were still sitting cross-legged on the bed, waiting quietly, but after a while, the two of them flashed a flash of shock at the same time. The aura concentration has recovered. The two looked at each other, neither of them said a word, and they cultivated with peace of mind again. Wang Yi slowly stopped his work and stood up with a helpless expression on his face. Xiao Wei was actually stuck at the peak of the third order, and there was a barrier that was stronger than before. No matter how much effort was put into it, it could not be broken through. Unfortunately, it's only tier 3. Wang Yi sighed and said leisurely. If his words were heard, he would definitely have the heart to beat him to death. The breakthrough of a martial artist can be calculated in terms of years. In a few hours, you are already a peak third-order martial artist. What are the meanings of complaining there? Moreover, Dragon Elephant Prujna Kung Fu is the most time-consuming. It's only been so long, and it's already a 3-level achievement. What else do you want to do? Looking at the pitch-dark room, Wang Yi finally realized that it was almost 12 o'clock. He had been practicing for 5 or 6 hours, and he had not eaten dinner. Yuyuganshu.com didn't feel hungry. Although he complained on the lips, he was already happy in his heart to be able to have the current state. When the arms are swung, there is a huge force of 100,000 caddies. With Wang Yi's cultivation, even if he goes to the battlefield, he is a strong soldier in 100 battles, and he can be called the leader of 100 people. Every time the Dragon Elephant Pruchnikong is upgraded by 1 level, the realm of the warrior can be improved by 1 level. As long as it is upgraded to the 9th level, then it is not a 9th level powerhouse. Above the 9th rank is the innate realm. It actually takes 13 layers to compare with each other. There is a difference of 4 layers of cultivation in the middle. The horror of the innate powerhouse is evident. Moreover, the 13th floor is only against the innate, not to defeat, nor to kill, but only to have the qualifications to fight against the innate powerhouse. However, these are still a little far from Wang Yi. He is only a 3rd order peak cultivation base, and he is still a long way from the 4th order. After all, 3rd order to 4th order belong to the lower 3rd order, and entering the middle 3rd order is considered a leap of the great realm, and the barrier to the realm is of course stronger. What? Wang Yi looked at the clock on the wall. It was already 12 o'clock in the morning. Is it possible to sign in again? Thinking of it, I did it without any hesitation. Wang Yi asked, "System, can I sign in now?" Ding! The check-in has been refreshed, and the remaining check-in opportunities today, 1 time. Wang Yi's heart moved slightly. It was really like this, as long as it was past 12 o'clock in the morning, he would be able to sign in immediately. Without waiting any longer, Wang Yi said directly, "System. Sign in." Ding! The sign-in is successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 100 Dragon Elephant pills. A small pile of medicinal pills appeared directly in the boundless system space. Wang Yi's thoughts moved, and a pill with a mellow medicinal fragrance and a dragon elephant pattern on it appeared directly in his hand. The moment the medicinal pill appeared in his hand, Wang Yi also knew its effect. The system has given Dragon Elephant Pruchnagong an exclusive medicine pill, which can improve the efficiency of cultivation and greatly shorten the time required for cultivation. Wang Yi directly put the Dragon Elephant pill into his mouth, and an incalculable pure spiritual energy appeared in the body, filling the meridians. Wang Yi has entered the state of cultivation again. 3 days later. Boom! Wang Yi was surrounded by a powerful spiritual force, and the surrounding spiritual energy formed a tornado again. It swept all the spiritual energy within a radius of 10 miles, making it a place of no spirit within a radius of 10 miles. All the warriors within this range were awakened in the practice, with a look of horror on their faces. Unexpectedly, I can't feel the slightest spiritual energy. You must know that the whole world is full of aura, the difference is only the strength of the concentration, but there will never be a place without aura. Guard the mansion. Fang Yuan, the guardian envoy who was cultivating, suddenly opened his eyes, a flash of light flashed, and a strong power rose up from his body. Turning his head and looking in one direction, in his spiritual perception, the aura that ordinary people can't see has formed an aura storm covering a radius of 10 miles. He couldn't help but muttered to himself, "What a powerful aura storm!" Unexpectedly, in the mere city of Kangcheng, there are actually strong men breaking through to the realm of masters here. Alas! It's just at this juncture that a Grand Master appears again. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing for Kangcheng. After a sigh, Fang Yuan withdrew his mental power, closed his eyes again to practice, and ignored everything in the outside world. At this moment, Wang Yi was also at a critical moment. The ancestral aperture in between his eyebrows appeared, the brilliance flickered, and the surrounding spiritual power was drawn into the ancestral aperture. Boom! At the moment when all the mental power entered the ancestral aperture, Guanghua was restrained, the ancestral aperture concealed in between his eyebrows, Wang Yi seemed to have broken through a certain boundary, his aura soared in an instant, directly crushing the furniture in the house. This is the 7th level? Wang Yi was a little surprised. In the past 3 days, Wang Yi signed in 3 times and received a total of 300 dragon elephant pills. And after these 3 days of taking dragon elephant pill to cultivate, Wang Yi's cultivation level was directly pushed to the realm of a master. Feeling the surging power in his body and the surging mental power in his brows, Wang Yi finally reacted. I really became a 7th order master. The 7th order, the of the battlefield, can start a sect and teach people to be teachers. The 7th rank is the God of War rank, which can also be called the Grand Master rank. In just 3 days, he has reached a level that no one else can achieve in his entire life. In just 3 days, he became one of the most powerful people in this city. If Wang Yi joins the military at this time, with his strength, he is enough to serve as the guard of a city and control the fate of thousands of souls. But this is not what Wang Yi wants. Although it is possible to have that enchanting authority, it is too tiring. As a traveler, all he wants is to be at ease, unfettered, and enjoy life. After cultivating in the hotel for another day, I stabilized my realm and became familiar with this terrifying strength. When he came out again, it was 5 days later. Standing on the street, for a while, I don't know where to go. Correct. I still have a job. A flash of light flashed through Wang Yi's mind. When the Sui family was the son-in-law of the Sui family, Sui Xia entered the Taoist academy. My father-in-law and mother-in-law couldn't handle it, and they felt sorry for their uncle. Afraid that it would be too hard, they entrusted the relationship with the Turing Martial Arts Hall to find a cleaning job. Said to be cleaning, but in fact, there is no work at all, and the salary is not low. Rather than saying it was work, it was better to say it was for him to relax. Let him have the opportunity to contact the warriors and help him expand his network, but I don't know if he can still go after being kicked out of the Sui family. But it doesn't matter, go take a look, you can also get in touch with some warriors in this world. This is the change in heart brought about by having great strength. The Turing Martial Arts Hall is located in the center of Kangcheng, where the standard elites are concentrated. It covers an extremely wide area, the size of 5 football fields. It is brightly lit in the dark, like a giant beast crawling on the ground. Turing Martial Arts Hall belongs to the top martial arts halls in Kangcheng. The hall advocates Turing, and it is the pinnacle of the warrior level. One step away is the existence of the 7th order master. The fact that the Sui family can have a relationship with such a strong man shows the strength of their family. When Wang Yi came to the martial arts hall, many people were already training. Practicing martial arts is like rowing a boat against the current. If you don't advance, you will retreat. Only by racing against time and time can you have a chance to set foot on the peak of martial arts. There are 5 floors in the martial arts hall. There are a lot of people on the first floor, and it looks very lively. They are all martial artist apprentices who have not yet entered the stage. The 2nd to 4th floors are basically warrior-level warriors. Although there is a lot of space, there are not so many people, and it looks very cold. The 5th floor belongs solely to the owner of the museum, and some of the martial arts instructors, the rest have no right to enter. Wang Yi is in charge of the sanitation on the 4th floor. There are generally 3rd order warriors here, and there are very few people every day, so the work is very easy. Yo! Isn't this the son-in-law of the Sui family? Why do you have time to come to work? Ah! I'm sorry, look at my memory, I almost forgot, you have been swept out by the Sui family, but you are not the son-in-law of the Sui family. What? It's only been a few days, and I have no money to eat? Remember that there is still a job here. The harsh voice came to mind behind Wang Yi. Looking at the voice, the other party was probably in his 30s. Yu Kanshu www.yuyuganshu.com was a big fat man with a greasy face. He looked at Wang Yi with the appearance of a villain. Wang Yi recognized the other party at a glance, Lu Xiong, the logistics director of the martial arts hall. Usually, he is kind to himself, and brother Wang is a mouthful. I didn't expect that the speed of this change of face would be called fast. It's so realistic. However, Wang Yi was not very angry. His mentality was different, and his eyes on things were also different. In his eyes, Lu Xiong is just a little guy who is trending towards power, and he can't even have the slightest interest in dealing with him. She just squinted at the other party and said nothing. Seeing this, Lu Xiong felt a chill on his back, and said with some sternness, "What are you looking at? Fang Xiao is coming at 10 o'clock to clean up box number 6. If anything goes wrong, be careful of your rice bowl. Don't hurry to work." Wang Yi also simply turned around and walked towards the stairs. After Wang Yi's back disappeared, after a while, Lu Xiong exhaled heavily and wiped his forehead, only to realize that he was already covered in cold sweat. With a look of fear on his face, he murmured in a low voice, "When did this guy become so scary?" Taking another look at the huge electronic clock on the wall, the time has come to 9:20. Suddenly, he seemed to think of something, and his face turned pale. "Broke in. Just now I was taken aback by that guy Wang Yi, and he seemed to be wrong. Fang Xiao was half an hour earlier today and didn't come at 10 o'clock as usual." But after a while, the pale complexion turned ruddy again. With a cheerful look on his face, he couldn't help being secretly proud in his heart. "Wang Yi, aren't you amazing? Look at the young master guarding the envoy's house, you can't afford it." The fourth floor was divided into 2 parts, and one part was renovated as a public training area. Inside, there are training equipment, strength testing equipment, rest area, drinks, and food. The rest of the room has been renovated into 9 boxes. The layout inside is exactly the same as the public practice area, but there are special massage therapists, sparring. Most of these boxes are used by rich, powerful people. The so-called Fang Xiao by Lu Xiong is a frequent visitor here and has been using the number 6 private room. Wang Yi found the number 6 box, pushed open the door directly, and found that the masseuse had already arrived and was preparing there, but the sparring had not yet arrived. Directly on the long dining table where the food had just been prepared, he took a roasted steak of an animal that he didn't know what to do, then picked up a bottle of wine and sat down beside the sofa. Opening the bottle cap, Wang Yi first took a sip of wine, and then smashed his mouth. He felt that there was no such thing as the mellow taste of wine on earth, nor the pungent taste of spirits. But it has a special fragrance, a bit bitter in taste, and a bit sweet under fine taste, with a long aftertaste. Between the two, each has its own merits. After taking another bite of the steak in his hand, Wang Yi's eyes lit up. "This tastes okay. Better than any food on earth." Wang Yi ate a whole piece of steak in a few bites with a satisfied smile on his face. Maybe because the animals in this world have always been nourished by spiritual energy, so as long as you cook a little, the taste is very delicious. Wang Yi directly brought over the whole plate of barbecued pork steaks, leaned on the sofa, raised Erlang's legs, took a sip of wine, and a mouthful of meat, enjoying the look on his face, so uncomfortable. In Wang Yi's plan, in addition to improving strength, there is another food item. While cultivating, eat food from all over the world. As for cleaning, don't make trouble. Wang Yi didn't really come to work here, he just didn't know where to go, and the warriors who wanted to see this world were just on a whim. 7th Order Grandmasters are always honored guests wherever they go, even 9th Order Grandmasters will treat each other with courtesy. Who can afford to use a Grandmaster to clean up? I'm afraid it's not even the legendary innate level powerhouse. Click. The door of the box was opened, and a person walked in, wearing a student uniform, looking at Wen quietly, not like a warrior. But in Wang Yi's mental perception, every muscle of the opponent has a huge power hidden there. Standing there, he is like a beast before hunting. The moment he sees the prey, he can burst out unimaginable power. After Fang Ming's came in, he directly closed the box door. The box door of the martial arts hall is closed inside, but it cannot be opened outside. This can protect the privacy of the warriors, and it can also avoid being disturbed by people at a critical juncture. Looking at Wang Yi, who was eating leisurely on the sofa, Fang Ming's felt a little unhappy. However, the good tutoring kept him from getting angry, he just snorted. She took off her school uniform and saw that her thin body was actually full of muscles, and then she put on a black training uniform. Fang Ming's moved his body and trotted in the box, his speed getting faster and faster, and there was even a faint sound of breaking wind. After running for a while, Fang Ming's went directly to the equipment. Lying on the soft carpet, I kept pushing the barbell. I don't know how much the barbell weighs, but with every push, the muscles on my body would vibrate violently, and there were blue veins on my neck. Stop rolling. After holding on for about half an hour, Fang Ming stopped, stomping his knees with both hands, panting violently. After resting for a while, I went to the masseuse. I lay down on the bed and enjoyed the masseuse's massage. I felt that my fatigue was quickly receding. Wang Yi looked at the barbell that was thrown aside, and he was also curious. How heavy is this? It took only half an hour to exhaust a tier 3 warrior like this. He picked up the barbell on the ground and weighed it in his hand. He slightly estimated in his heart that it was almost 20,000 kilograms. Wang Yi suddenly became interested. He didn't know what material it was made of. Such a small barbell was so heavy. This is the world of martial arts, it is not surprising to have such a magical thing. You can no longer look at this world from the perspective of the earth, Wang Yi could not help but secretly warned himself. Putting the barbell on the shelf casually, he glanced at Fang Ming's who was massaging there. It's not bad that a third-order warrior can have this level. Of course, it's not bad, but Fang Ming's can be proud of being evaluated well by a grandmaster. Although he was enjoying the massage, Fang Ming's attention would be on Wang Yi from time to time. After all, when he first came in, the other party left a deep impression on him. When Wang Yi lifted the barbell with one hand and weighed it freely in his hand, Fang Ming saw it right away, his eyes straightened, he knew how heavy the barbell was. Even if he can't do it, the opponent lifts so lightly, a 20,000 pound barbell actually seems to have no weight in his hands. Could it be that the opponent is a warrior-level warrior? Immediately Fang Ming's was relieved. www.mtlnovel.com. No wonder he dared to eat the food prepared for himself in his own box, with a casual look on his face, but the warrior level really has this qualification. It's just that when did touring martial arts become so generous? I actually asked the fighter level to be a sparring partner. But it doesn't matter, isn't the warrior level better? In this way, you don't have to worry about hurting the opponent, you can let go of your hands and feet during training and do your best. Naturally, Wang Yi didn't know Fang Ming's thoughts. After putting the barbell back on the rack, he became a little disappointed. Picked up a plate of food at the dining table, sat back on the sofa, took a sip of wine and meat again, and returned to the state just now. After Fang Ming saw it this time, he didn't have the reaction he had before, he just concentrated on enjoying the massage there. About half an hour later, Fang Ming's got off the massage table and walked to a slightly empty place. The legs are slightly bent, the calf and the thigh are at a 90-degree angle, the back is straight, the back and the thigh are also at a 90-degree angle, and the arms are hugged in a circle in front of the chest. At the moment when Fang Ming stood there, in Wang Yi's spiritual perception, a strong spiritual energy was drawn by Fang Ming's and entered into his flesh and blood, tempering his physical body, but it did not pass through the meridians at all. What? Have you started to practice? Wang Yi became interested, stood up, and walked towards Fang Ming's. After watching for a while, his brows could not help but wrinkle. Is this the way of cultivation in this world? The only way to keep the body in an active state is through high-intensity exercise, and then use a special method to enhance the speed of the body's absorption of spiritual energy. It is indeed faster than before, but the efficiency of this practice is too low. Wang Yi couldn't help but feel disappointed. As time went by, Wang Yi could clearly feel that Fang Ming's was drawing less and less spiritual energy. While the aura was decreasing, Fang Ming's body also trembled more and more, like a sieve. The teeth were biting and creaking, as if they were enduring unbearable pain, and they might not be able to hold on at any time. Wang Yi became more and more disappointed with the cultivation methods in this world. Not only is it not efficient, it is not durable. Bang! With the passage of time, Fang Ming's finally couldn't hold it any longer, and sat on the ground, gasping for breath. My whole body was wet with sweat, I felt that my body lacked any strength, and I didn't even want to move my fingers. The third-order warriors have become like this. It can be seen how much pressure they have endured in just a short period of time. Fang Ming's rested on the ground for a while, and then became alive again. After all, with the physical quality of a third-order warrior, he recovered very quickly. Let's start. Fang Ming's took a step forward with his left foot, clenched his fists and chest with both hands, and said to Wang Yi. Wang Yi was a little stunned, what to start? After Fang Ming's finished speaking, he didn't care about Wang Yi's reaction, he rushed forward, and his left fist hit Wang Yi's chest at a very fast speed, with a feint fist style. Damn it! Isn't this guy crazy? Dare to attack a grandmaster? Wang Yi looked at the other party's actions and was speechless. But it was also an instant interest, why don't you try it? After seeing the cultivation methods of this world, it is also good to know the techniques and moves of this world again. Although Fang Ming's movements were swift and violent, in Wang Yi's eyes, that's what happened. She dodged slightly, dodged the oncoming fist, and stretched out her left arm, blocking the opponent's punch at the temple. Immediately, the two fought together. It was said to be a fight, but in fact Wang Yi was basically dodging and defending. Elbow strike, knee strike, straight punch, collapse punch, whip leg. Fang Ming's became more and more frightened as he fought, no matter how he attacked, he couldn't hurt the opponent in the slightest. The more he fought, the more excited he became. All the moves could be used, and he didn't have to worry about hurting the opponent. He hadn't had such a hearty fight in a long time. However, Wang Yi felt more and more unable to lift his spirits. That's it. It doesn't mean that it can't be done. Every time I make a move, it's neat and deadly, but I always feel that something is missing. Every time he attacked, he couldn't use his full strength, let alone increase it. The two brushed past again. Fang Ming's, who had completely let go of his hands and feet, suddenly shouted, "Be careful!" Then he took a deep breath, and a huge mouth seemed to appear on his right arm, madly swallowing the surrounding spiritual energy. In an instant, the arm was filled with spiritual energy, and at the same time, it seemed to have reached a certain upper limit, and the momentum of swallowing stopped abruptly. Fang Ming's let out a low growl, tiger roaring fist. Then his right arm was raised high and smashed against Wang Yi's chest, accompanied by the sound of tiger roars. Wang Yi's eyes lit up, this is a good thing. This should be on the arm. Several orifices have been strengthened to devour and temporarily store the spiritual energy, and then bombard it with a secret method. As for the sound of the tiger's roar, it should be caused by the secret method, which has a shocking effect. Those who are not determined may have a momentary absence. The power of this punch has increased by at least 50%, and its power has almost reached the peak of Tier 3. Wang Yi also wanted to give it a try. He didn't dodge anymore. He controlled his own power at the third rank and threw a punch. When the two fists intersected, Wang Yi felt that something was wrong, and instantly withdrew most of his strength. Even so, Fang Ming's couldn't take it anymore, he spat out a mouthful of blood and flew backwards. Wang Yi couldn't help but feel a little annoyed, he really only used third-order power. But he had forgotten that Dragon Elephant Prujna Kung Fu has always been known for its strength. It is the strongest among the same rank, and its strength is at least several times that of a martial artist of the same rank, or even more. Fortunately, Wang Yi is a master, and has a very strong control over himself. He has time to withdraw most of his power, otherwise, even if the opponent does not die, he will be seriously injured. If the two were to fight when he was at the third rank, maybe this punch would directly blow up the opponent. At the moment when Fang Ming's flew backwards, Wang Yi's figure flashed and disappeared in place. When he reappeared, he was already behind the other party, and he lightly placed his palms, and suddenly stopped the trend of flying backwards. A wave of spiritual power penetrated directly into the opponent's body, and then Wang Yi breathed a sigh of relief. Fine. Fortunately, the force was pulled in time just now, and it only caused a slight injury. It looked scary, and it would be fine after a few days of training. However, Wang Yi didn't want to wait for the other party to recover slowly. A burst of infuriating energy poured directly into the other party's body along the hand attached to the other party's back. In a few breaths, the wounds disappeared. Instant recovery. Although Dragon Elephant Prujna Gong is a practice outside the door, it mainly focuses on strength, but in the process of cultivation, he is also slowly cultivating true qi. Wang Yi's infuriating qi is not very strong, but it is also a master-level infuriating qi, which is more than enough to heal wounds. Just as Wang Yi's mental power swept over, Fang Ming's felt the pendant on his chest, which suddenly became extremely hot, and his face changed suddenly, but he quickly covered it up. Wang Yi is also a little suspicious, master level? He sensed that Fang Ming's had a spiritual power flashing over him. Could this guy be at the master level? Such a weak master level? Wang Yi carefully sensed it again. No, not at the master level. That mental power is very weak, and it doesn't match his breath. It should be attached to him by someone else. In fact, it would be a good thing to have a master and a strong master. It just so happens that we can communicate with each other. Wang Yi is now full of curiosity about the martial arts of this world. Guard the palace. Just as Wang Yi's mental power came into contact with Fang Ming's, Fang Yuan suddenly opened his eyes, and a cold light flashed at the same time. On Fang Ming's body, there is a piece of spiritual power left by him, which is in the jade pendant he wears. This mental power alone can block it. The sixth Hoarder Masters attacked Zancha Time with all their strength, and this time was enough for him to rescue him. If you encounter a master-level master, the other party can also sense that the spiritual power that he has left, as long as it is not a Lifian death vendetta, he will not risk offending his master to kill his son. Even if the other party really makes a move, this mental power can also play a role in positioning, locking the person who made the move. After careful sensing again, Fang Yuan was not in the other party's mental power, felt malicious, and did not sense that his son was in danger, so he did not continue to pay attention, closed his eyes again, and sat up quietly. After standing still, Fang Ming's could no longer feel any discomfort on his body. He also understood immediately that the other party should have used his true energy to heal himself. He quickly cupped his hands. Fang Ming said gratefully, "Thank you." Wang Yi, however, waved his hand and said nothing. "This injury was accidentally made by myself, but I don't have the nerve to accept others' thanks." Fang Ming's lost the thought of continuing to cultivate, wiped the sweat from his face, and sat on the sofa. Afterwards, he invited Wang Yi to sit down and handed over a plate of fruits that looked like grapes, but were much larger than grapes. Wang Yi took one and put it in his mouth, his eyes lit up. Good to eat. Very crunchy, sweet and sour, with a lot of juice. I don't know how much stronger than the fruit on earth. The martial arts in this world cannot be determined for the time being, but the food in this world is definitely top-notch. Fang Ming's was very self-disciplined. He didn't touch the wine, but just took a glass of juice. For the next third order main body training, you need to keep your body in the best state at all times. Although alcohol has a small impact on the body, it is still there to some extent. So Fang Ming's basically doesn't drink alcohol. Unlike mid-level 3 level warriors, who have already developed their true qi, which runs on their own, passively tempering the body all the time, alcohol and the like, so it has no effect. After taking a sip of the juice, he put the glass aside and looked at Wang Yi's hearty smile. He had the boldness of an ancient chivalrous person, which formed a strong contrast with his quiet appearance, and then said, "Senior, I didn't expect that with your strength, you would come here to do sparring. In order to invite you, I'm afraid there is a lot of blood in the Turing Martial Arts Hall. In the world of martial arts, strength is always respected. Woo-woo is big and small, the strong come first. If you meet someone stronger than you, you have to call your senior, even the son of the guardian, the blood of the master and the strong, you have to abide by it." Wang Yi was startled. Sparring? It suddenly dawned on me that I couldn't help but laugh and cry. That's right, there was a masseuse and a sparring trainer in the box. Besides the masseuse, I was the only one left. No wonder, I mistook myself for a sparring trainer. Wang Yi didn't plan to explain anything. He just kept eating the fruit and replied vaguely, "Well, it's a lot of money. This is not a lie. When the predecessor was working here, he had basically nothing to do. He earned more than 10,000 yuan a month, which was more than ordinary white-collar workers. The money he gave was indeed a lot. If Wang Yi could have a job like this before crossing the road, I'm afraid he would wake up laughing from his dreams." Fang Ming's eyes flickered a little. He didn't know what he was thinking, but he quickly returned to normal and said with a smile, "Senior, I'm here to practice tomorrow. I wonder if Senior can continue to be my sparring partner." The attitude is very sincere. Wang Yi didn't answer, nor did he stop sending fruit to his mouth. "Sparring? How can it be? Now that you have come to this world, you must go around, see the martial arts of this world, and taste the delicious food of this world. The scenery along the way must be beautiful. How can there be time to waste here? Even if there is time, who is qualified to let himself be a sparring coach in a small Kangcheng?" Fang Ming's face was strange. "With this strength, what have you not eaten? How to enjoy a face full of enjoyment after eating a grape? You must know that this is just an ordinary fruit, not even a spiritual fruit." Seeing that Wang Yi didn't speak, Fang Ming's rolled his eyes, and immediately became concerned. The smile on his face became a little more prosperous, and he smiled again and said, "The food prepared by the martial arts hall today is indeed too ordinary. I think it's a good idea to come here. I can't see the eyes of the seniors. In this way, I will ask the chef at home to cook a few dishes that they are good at. I will invite the seniors to taste them tomorrow and give pointers on the shortcomings. I wonder what the seniors think." Wang Yi's face was filled with joy. This is possible. This world is full of dangers, and I am only a 7th order master, so I am a little weak. When their cooks can't make new tricks, no, it's not too late to see the world again when their cultivation reaches the 9th rank. But why is this tune a little familiar? After coughing twice, Wang Yi said solemnly, "Okay. There's nothing to do these days anyway, so I'll practice with you for a few more days. It's still this time tomorrow, don't be late, don't be late." After a pause, he added, "Well, ask your cook to make some meat dishes, and I'll give some pointers to your meat dishes." Fang Ming's wanted to laugh, but he held it back. It turns out that if this guy is good at it, it would be too easy. With the same smile, he said again, "Senior, don't worry, I will not be late. Then I will wait for the senior's guidance tomorrow." Afterwards, the two talked for a while. Fang Ming saw that Wang Yi was not enjoying the conversation, and didn't bother him much. He packed up his things, said hello to Wang Yi, and left the box directly. When he walked out of the martial arts hall, the driver had already parked the car at the door. After getting in the car, Fang Ming's brows were tightly wrinkled into a Sichuan character, and he fell into contemplation. When did Kang Cheng have one more, such a young master? Why does it feel so familiar? Yes, Fang Ming's has already discovered that Wang Yi is not a warrior at all, but a real master. It's not because of Fang Ming's eyesight. After all, he is only a third-order martial artist. If a master has the intention to hide, how could he be discovered by him? Being able to discover Wang Yi's true cultivation has a lot to do with his father, Fang Yuan, the guardian envoy. Reading www.yukanshu.com. Fang Yuan once gave Fang Ming's a pendant and asked him to carry it with him, saying that it could withstand a short period of time, and the full-strength attack of a sixth-order powerhouse could be used to save his life in a critical juncture. If you meet the spiritual exploration of the master, the pendant will respond, and you can prepare in advance. At that time, Fang Yuan did not say how he would react after meeting the master. He felt that in Kang Cheng, apart from himself, Fang Ming's might not have the chance to meet other masters. But today, Fang Ming's really met him. At the moment when the pendant became hot, Fang Ming's knew what his father's reaction was, and he also knew that he was facing a strong master. In other words, Wang Yi entered the Grand Master realm for too short time and lacked experience. Otherwise, he would definitely be able to react. There is a Grand Master behind Fang Ming's. Dividing the spiritual power is a big burden for the master and the strong. How can someone who is not a close relative give it so easily? Damn it! Why is he? Fang Ming's, who was still contemplating, suddenly shouted, his tone was full of disbelief. Master, what's wrong? The driver was taken aback by the sudden shout, and hurriedly asked. It's okay, hurry up and go home. Fang Ming's instructed. At this time, Fang Ming's heart has already set off a storm. He knows who this is. The son-in-law of the Sui family. That person called Trash, little white face, soft rice man. He is actually a master. What a joke! If it weren't for the fact that the Sui family's direct daughter, the famous iceberg beauty in Kang Cheng, suddenly married an unknown poor boy, causing a huge sensation at the time, otherwise, with Fang Ming's status, how could it be possible to know an ordinary person like Wang Yi? Returning to the guardhouse, Fang Ming's rushed directly to the study room. This matter must be told to his father immediately. This news is really exciting, and it even has something to do with the future direction of Kang Cheng. Normally, Fang Yuan would be in the study at this time. Master, you're back. As soon as he entered the door, Fang Ming's heard someone calling him. He looked up and saw an old man in 66 standing in front of him, with white hair and wrinkles on his face full of traces of time. It turned out to be the old housekeeper. Uncle Wu, is my father in the study? I'm in a hurry to find him. Fang Ming's looked at the old man and asked anxiously. Uncle Wu was not in a hurry, and replied with a smile, Master is waiting for the young master in the living room. Didn't I let me meet the young master here? Fang Ming's didn't say anything, and went straight to the living room. It's no surprise, my father must have known it, he met a master-level powerhouse, and it was only natural to wait for him in advance. Who would dare not pay attention to the strange master who suddenly appeared? Especially for a small town like Kang Cheng. Pushing the door into the living room, Fang Ming's found that his father was sitting on the sofa with a heavy face, as if he had something on his mind. What's going on today? Where did you meet the master? Sure enough. The first question Fang Yuan asked was straight to the point. This is also what he cares about. One of the masters that the Sui family provoked, there was a master who was suspected of breaking through 2 days ago, and another mysterious master who appeared today. In a small Kang Cheng, there are 3 more masters in an instant, which is not a good thing. If it's a coincidence, it's fine. If there is a connection between the 3, then there will be a big problem. Fang Ming's was a little embarrassed, and he didn't know how to speak for a while. And for Wang Yi, he just swept it away at the time, and his impression was a little vague. He could only say that he was very similar. As for whether he was the master, he could not be 100% sure. What made Fang Ming's depressed was that on the way, he was only shocked and forgot to send someone to find Wang Yi's information. Ming's. Seeing Fang Ming's froze there, his expression constantly changing, sometimes excited, sometimes frustrated, Fang Yuan couldn't help reminding him. Ah! Father, wait a minute, I almost have something. Fang Ming's just woke up like a dream, and then said to the old housekeeper next to him, Uncle Wu, help me find Wang Yi's information, the one who caused the whole city to riot a year ago, and was the son-in-law of the Sui family. Wang Yi. Fang Yuan is a little unclear, he doesn't know what this Wang Yi has to do with today's events, but he still believes in his son, and believes that he must have his reasons for doing this. After a while, Uncle Wu came back with a thick stack of documents in his hand. Fang Ming's took the information and looked at the photo above, his lips trembled. Exactly. It is him, the son-in-law of the Sui family, a master at the master level. I just didn't expect that he could hide so deeply, and a waste who has been scolded for so long, can hide for so long. Fang Ming's became more and more frightened as he read the information page by page. He didn't let out a sigh of relief until he read the last page. It was fun to watch. Fang Yuan was on the side, and he was so anxious that he turned around, but he didn't interrupt. Seeing that Fang Ming's had read the information, he wanted to remind him again. He opened his mouth, but no sound came out after all. Fang Ming sorted out his thoughts and had some concerns in his heart. Then, he directly told everything that happened today, and handed the information in his hand to Fang Yuan. After Fang Yuan heard it, he was no better than his own son. He opened his mouth wide in shock and was speechless for a long time. If it wasn't for his son's promise, if it wasn't for the fact that he had indeed sensed it a few days ago, Fang Yuan would never have believed that someone had broken through to the master. It's just too incredible. Seeing that Fang Yuan had read the information, Fang Ming's asked uncertainly, Father, the Sui family has hidden a master, will there be any calculations? Although Fang Ming's is young, he is the son of the guardian envoy after all. The Sui family has provoked a strong master. He must know about such a big thing. Fang Yuan frowned tightly, pondered for a while, then shook his head and said, It shouldn't be, the Sui family is already in a desperate situation, there is no need to hide. Fang Ming's nodded, yes, there's really no need. The one whom the Sui family provoked was too vicious and wanted to destroy the Sui family. I want the Sui family to perish in pain and despair. Now that the daughter of the Sui family has been forced to divorce, and her business is facing bankruptcy, her family is about to break down. At this time, the Sui family is facing a situation of mortal death. In the world of martial arts, the law cannot govern the personal grudges of warriors. In other words, it is legal for the Grand Master to kill the people of the Sui family. So, given the current situation of the Sui family, if there is a Grand Master who can survive, how could he hide it? Fang Ming's thought for a while, and then said, the current situation is nothing more than three possibilities. The first Sui family didn't know Wang Yi's martial arts cultivation base www.mtlnovel.com forced him to divorce, in order to protect him and let him escape from the disaster of the Sui family, and Wang Yi did not know the Sui family facing the situation. Second, Wang Yi knows the situation the Sui family is facing, so he doesn't want to go into the muddy waters and take this opportunity to get out. After all, he was not a master before, but he just broke through 2 days ago. Third, as I just said, the Sui family has their own calculations. After Wang Yi broke through, they chose to hide it, but as I said before, it's unlikely. Fang Yuan smiled and was very satisfied. His son's analysis was in place, and he couldn't help but ask with a smile, Mings, which one do you think is the most likely? The first. Fang Ming said without any hesitation. Xia Yuan is interested here. It's not surprising that my son can analyze it, but I didn't expect him to be so sure, so he couldn't help asking, so sure. Fang Ming's was very confident and said confidently, through my contact with him, I found that he should not be the kind of cold-blooded person. Now he is a master of the master. If he knew about the crisis of the Sui family, he would definitely not stand by. Fang Yuan did not continue to dwell on this issue, and was still very confident in his son's observation and judgment. Then he said with a smile, the one who forced the Sui family into this way is very lively to watch. Mings, do you have any ideas? Fang Ming seemed to know that his father would ask himself this question, and immediately replied, it's better to give help in the icing on the cake, and let Wang Yi deal with the enemy of the master himself. Didn't the Sui family encounter difficulties in business, funds are tight, and medicinal materials cannot be purchased? Let's help him solve these. I will go to the martial arts gym tomorrow, I will find a way to report the situation of the Sui family to Wang Yi. Okay. Just do as you say. Fang Yuan happily agreed, and he was also delighted that his son could be on his own. Then a few phone calls were made from the guard house. It was past 11 o'clock at night, and the Sui family's villa was still brightly lit. The three of them sat around the dining table, the food was already cold, and no one moved a chopstick. The room was very quiet, no one spoke, the atmosphere was suppressed to the extreme, it felt like a black cloud was pressing down on the city. After a long time, finally, Su Changlin broke the silence, his voice was a little hoarse, as if he was under great pressure. Several raw material suppliers that we have cooperated with have announced the termination of the contract today, and the bank is also urging money. The Sui family may not be able to survive this hurdle. While the other party hasn't arrived in Kangcheng, I'm dragging them here. You two girls pack up, and I'll find a way to send you away. After he finished speaking, Su Changlin's eyes were full of pain. If it was not a last resort, who would want to be separated from his family by life and death, but it would be better for someone to die alone than for the whole family to be killed. Li Langzhen looked at her husband with tenderness in her eyes, and said very freely, I'll stay with you. Those third-order warriors were also called back by their respective martial arts halls, did he? Let us go. Xia, you still have hope. As long as you return to the Martial Arts Institute, even if he is a grandmaster, he will not dare to mess around. Su Xia shook her head, her beautiful face was full of stubbornness. I had a car accident a few days ago, but luckily there was no major problem. But we've all distanced ourselves from A Yi, and he hasn't let it go, let alone us. Even if I hide in the Taoist Academy, can I still leave the Taoist Academy for the rest of my life? He won't let me go either. As long as I leave the Taoist Academy, he will deal with me as well. It's just a matter of time. Afterwards, the room fell into silence for a long time again, looking a little gloomy and gloomy. Jingle bell. The phone rang, breaking the silence again. Su Changlin took out his mobile phone, glanced at the caller ID, the unfamiliar number, but got up and walked to the side, and pressed the connect button. Jingle bell. Jingle bell. Two cell phone ringtones rang in succession, and Li Langzhen and Su Xia's cell phones rang at the same time. 5 minutes later, the three returned to their seats again. The difference from before is that at this moment, there is ecstasy on his face, and there is no despair and suffocation before. Su Changlin picked up his chopsticks, took a bite of the dish, and smashed a few mouthfuls of rice, but he didn't care that the food was cold. Then he put down the bowls and chopsticks, swallowed the food in his mouth, and said very excitedly, the president of Kangcheng Bank just called and said that he can loan us 100 million yuan at a low interest rate. Several medicinal herbs dealers also called, willing to provide all the medicinal herbs we need at a price that is 10% lower than the market price. Immediately afterwards, Li Langzhen said excitedly, the Turing Martial Arts Museum also called just now, saying that their museum advocates Turing and will protect us in person from tomorrow. Su Xia opened her mouth in shock at the words of the two, and said with some stammer, My teacher called me just now and asked me to go back to the Taoist temple tomorrow to practice. She will be back and forth soon. Although the three of them don't know exactly what happened, it's definitely a good thing. Don't look at these just to solve the superficial problems, there is still the biggest difficulty, the enemy of the Grand Master, but these few phone calls, but there is a faint shadow of the guard. Whether it was a bank, a medicine dealer, or a martial arts hall, they all cut off their cooperation with the Sui family under the pressure of the master. Unless they are both masters and strong guards, who would dare to risk offending the master and cooperate with the Sui family at this time? This night, the three of the Sui family who saw some hope stayed up all night. The next day, Wang Yi arrived at the martial arts hall on time. Fang Ming's had already arrived early and was standing there. Seeing Wang Yi come in, Fang Ming's put away his work and said with a smile, "Senior, you are here." After he finished speaking, he came to the table, opened the food box, took out the dishes one by one, put them on the table, and continued, "This is what our chef made today, please taste it, Senior, give me more advice." Wang Yi couldn't help but praise him for being sensible. It feels good to have delicious food as soon as you come here. There are 4 dishes on the table, steaming hot, fragrant, and a touch of aura, lingering on it. Wang Yi took a bite of the fish and put it in his mouth, chewed it a few times, and closed his eyes slightly. He enjoyed it very much. It was very fresh and tender, and it melted in the mouth. Fang Ming's played the role of running the hall and introduced next to him, steamed Kangyang fish, our specialty fish in Kangcheng, is taken from Kangyang Lake outside the city. After 7 hours of preparation, the spiritual material is completely integrated into the fish, and then steamed for another 7 hours, it will be the best after it is out of the pot. Wang Yi nodded, expressing satisfaction, picked up another piece of duck meat, and ate it. Fang Ming's went on to introduce, 8 treasures duck, the main ingredient uses first-order green palm duck, deboned, Yuyuganshu www.yuyuganshu.com combines black forest mushrooms, kanglang shrimp, 9-petal lotus seeds, 6-leaf ginseng, ling glutinous rice, and other 8 kinds of spiritual materials, are hidden in the duck belly. The surface is smeared with hundreds of nectar, and placed in the stove. When it is taken out, it is purplish red, and the taste is crispy and soft. Wang Yi tasted the remaining 2 dishes, and Fang Ming's also introduced them one by one. The taste is much stronger than yesterday's. After tasting all 4 dishes, Fang Ming's took out a pot of wine and a wine cup. After filling it up, he said with a smile, "This is a fine wine that my father treasured, and I usually don't want to give it to me. Seniors try it, but it's still a habit of drinking." Wang Yi picked up the wine cup, raised his head and took a sip. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart, this treatment is gone. The young master who guards the envoy's family is here to serve him. If it is placed before crossing, it is at least equivalent to the son of the county magistrate, or even the son of the mayor, serving wine here. Whoever said that the 2nd generation of Wu, the 2nd generation of wealth, and the 2nd generation of power are dandies? They are even more shrewd than ordinary people, otherwise in this circle, they would not be able to get along. Even if there are some, who are really playboys, the results are often not very good. They are either used as guns or eaten by people with no bones left. When Wang Yi saw Fang Ming's, he became more and more pleasing to the eye. He had eyesight, and he knew what to do. Even without the care of his parents, his future achievements would not be too low. Wang Yi nodded slightly, with a very gentle attitude, and said with a smile, "Thank you so much. Say hello to Fang Zhenshao on my behalf." Yesterday, after Fang Ming's left, Wang Yi came to his senses. Spiritual power is the symbol of the master. Apart from the guarding envoy, is there any other master in Kangcheng? And if you can perceive the other party through mental power, then the other party will definitely be able to perceive yourself through mental power. Fang Ming's must have known that he is a master, otherwise he wouldn't be so flattering to himself. Thank you Master Wang for your concern, Mingzi will definitely tell my father. Fang Ming's attitude became more and more humble. Although the two were similar in age, they vaguely regarded themselves as juniors. Wang Yi smiled and continued eating. Fang Ming stood beside him with his hands down. As long as the wine glass was empty, it would be filled immediately. Wang Yi doesn't think there's anything wrong with it, since he enjoys it, he also has the qualifications. Fang Ming didn't think there was anything wrong either. Being able to serve a grandmaster was an opportunity that no one could ask for. It's just that Fang Ming was a little helpless, and Wang Yi's understatement directly disrupted his plan. This person's thoughts are really hard to guess. I thought they would continue to hide it, but I didn't expect to reveal it directly. Regarding his father, the Grand Master, there is no reverence in his tone. Only a strong person of the same rank can show such a calm expression. Often, for such an existence, it is much better to go straight than to be careful and calm. Although he was caught off guard, Fang Ming pondered for a while, and then said directly, Master Wang, do you know that the Sui family provoked a master enemy not long ago, and now it is in danger, and there is a danger that the family will be destroyed at any time. At this moment, Wang Yi's complexion changed and became very ugly. It wasn't because Fang Ming was investigating himself. With his former fame, it was estimated that he could get his information at will. After all, it was too sensational at the time. What made Wang Yi's face look ugly was that just after Fang Ming finished speaking, there was a surge of anger, which fluctuated violently in his heart. Kill. Killed the enemy of the Sui family. Save the Sui family. Save Sui Xia. This is the residual consciousness of the predecessor, and it suddenly affects Wang Yi at this moment. Wang Yi was like a volcano about to erupt, boundless anger was surging in his chest, and an invisible momentum rose up from his body. The crushed Fang Ming bent down, like a big rock was pressed against his chest, his expression was very painful. Wang Yi is not stupid, and can even be said to be thoughtful. In Fang Ming's words, he immediately judged that the pain his predecessor experienced was only the protection of the Sui family for him. And at this moment, Wang Yi suddenly woke up. What he inherited was not only this body, but also the joys, sorrows and joys of the former master, his concern for the Sui family, and his feelings for Sui Xia. What affects me is not the consciousness left by the former master, but everything that has been inherited by me. At this moment, there is really no Wang Wei in the world, only Wang Yi. I occupy your body, and you and I have cause and effect. From now on, what you protect is what I protect, and what you cherish is what I cherish. The enemy of the Sui family, I will kill him. Wang Yi murmured in a low voice, then his momentum instantly subsided. Looking at Fang Ming, who was in cold sweat and was still in shock, he said a little embarrassedly, I'm sorry, I'm a little emotional, I couldn't control it for a while, are you all right? Fang Ming's face was pale, and he was panting heavily. Now Wang Yi felt even more embarrassed, and couldn't help thinking, he had to find a chance to make up for it. After a while, when Fang Ming almost recovered, Wang Yi continued to ask, who is the master that the Sui family offended? Where is he now? Although Wang Yi's tone was very flat, Fang Ming could hear a trace of coldness, a kind of indifference to life. Taking a deep breath, Fang Ming was still in a state of shock at this time. He felt like he was on the verge of death just now. Although his father is also a Grand Master, he doesn't know how terrifying a Grand Master is. I didn't know until today that the Master is so powerful. Just the momentum is enough to suppress him as a third-order warrior, and even kill him. Reluctantly calmed down, Fang Ming replied, that Grand Master is from Tiankai County, and Zhao Tianlin, the director of the Wufeng division, is still in the county now. Right now, it's just for people to attack the Sui family's business, to prevent them from escaping Kangcheng, and not to give them a day of peace. The day he comes is the day the Sui family perishes. Wang Yi felt that the anger was about to erupt again, so he suppressed the killing intent in his heart, and said solemnly, "Trouble, please, help the Sui family to solve these trivial matters. When Zhao Tianlin comes, I will meet him." Fang Ming sensed Wang Yi's killing intent, and couldn't help feeling a little tricky, and hurriedly said, "The matter of the Sui family was resolved by sending someone yesterday, but behind Zhao Tianlin, there is a ninth order great master, even my father would not dare to provoke it easily. It's better to wait for him to come. Master Wang and my father join forces to expel him. If I want to come to Zhao Tianlin, I won't risk the two masters and continue to deal with the Sui family." Wang Yi chuckled twice. His voice was soft, making people feel like a spring breeze. He cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, Wang Yi will have a great reward after the incident." Then his eyes became extremely cold, and his voice was filled with endless chills, cold to the bone. "Zhao Tianlin doesn't need to trouble Fang Guard, I can solve it myself." At this time, Wang Yi exudes a strong self-confidence. As for the ninth order Grand Master on Zhao Tianlin's back, to be honest, Wang Yi really didn't see it in his eyes. For others, it was an insurmountable realm, a superpower, but for Wang Yi, it was the same thing. But it's just a few more times to sign in. This time, Wang Yi only wanted to kill the first evil, and it was fine to kill Zhao Tianlin. He didn't want to make more murders. "I hope that the ninth order great master can be knowledgeable, otherwise, the land of Kangcheng will be stained with the blood of the great master." Fang Mings didn't know where Wang Yi's self-confidence came from. As soon as he stepped into the realm of masters, he dared to compete with the old masters. But after all, this is a game between masters, not a third-order warrior like him. He had no choice but to say, "Master Wang is very polite, Mings is terrified." In his heart, he was thinking that he must tell his father as soon as possible that only his father, who is also a master, is qualified to participate. After talking with Wang Yi about the current situation of the Sui family for a while, Fang Ming said goodbye and left, in a hurry. In the next few days, Fang Mings brought different delicacies every day and came to the martial arts hall on time. Wang Yi also greatly satisfied his appetite. In the past few days, Wang Yi has signed another 500 dragon elephant pills, and his cultivation has also been upgraded from a 7th order Grand Master to a 9th order Grand Master. Although he is only a beginner, Wang Yi is confident that even the Great Master of the 9th rank peak, he can defeat, even kill. However, Wang Yi has been feeling a little depressed these days. Ever since he signed up for Dragon Elephant Prujna Kung Fu, every time he signed up, it was always Dragon Elephant Pill. Wang Yi was a little skeptical. If Dragon Elephant Prujna Gong is not upgraded to the 13th floor, and if you sign in, you will not be able to get other items.